Welcome to another deep dive. This time, we're taking a crack at the animal kingdom.
Oh, it's a big one.
You guys gave us your notes and a really interesting chapter from a biology textbook all about animal classification.
Perfect.
So, get ready to learn the basics of how scientists organize this crazy world of creatures. We'll dig up some surprising facts and
Right.
figure out why all of this even matters.
Yeah, when you really think about it, the sheer amount of life on Earth, it's mind-boggling.
It is.
I mean, you got these microscopic rotifers and then these gigantic blue whales.
Yeah, it's crazy, but somehow in all that chaos, there's like an order, right?
Exactly. That's what's so cool about classification.
Yeah.
It helps us make sense of all these different animals by like recognizing patterns and connections, like putting together a giant puzzle.
So where do we even start trying to sort through millions of species?
Well, I think a good place to start is by looking at levels of organization.
Okay, so like starting with the simplest structures and then moving towards more complex ones.
Yeah, exactly. So like at the most basic level, you have organisms like sponges,
Okay.
which are basically just groups of cells with a loose division of labor. They're kind of just existing at the cellular level.
So like the starter pack of the animal kingdom.
Huh. Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
No fancy tissues or organs, just a bunch of cells working together.
Wow. So even these simple creatures have unique adaptations.
Oh, for sure. Like, think about their intricate canal systems. That's how they filter water, extract nutrients, and oxygen.
Huh. So they're like living filters.
Totally. Constantly interacting with their environment.
That's pretty impressive for the starter pack. What comes after that in terms of complexity?
Well, as we go up the ladder, things get a bit more intricate.
Okay.
We see animals with distinct tissues like jellyfish and coral.
Those are coelenterates, right?
Yes,
Oh.
their cells work together in these specialized groups to do very specific functions,
Uh,
which allows for like more coordinated activities.
so we've got cells working together, then groups of cells forming tissues. What's next?
Organ.
Organs, okay.
We reach the organ level with flatworms.
Okay.
They have distinct organs, each with a specific job to do. But here's where things get interesting.
Okay.
Flatworms have what's called an incomplete digestive system.
Incomplete. What does that mean?
Imagine one opening,
Uh-huh.
and that's both your mouth and your anus.
Wait, so everything goes in and out the same way?
Yeah.
That seems, well, inefficient.
It definitely has its limitations.
Yeah, I would think so.
It really makes you think about like how this system affects their diet, their lifestyle, even their evolution.
Right.
Like, did this prevent them from developing more complex body structures
Uh,
or inhabiting certain environments?
It's really interesting to think about the trade-offs involved in evolution.
For sure.
So it's not just about learning the what, it's about understanding the why.
Exactly.
Why haven't flatworms evolved a separate mouth and anus over millions of years? What's the advantage of a system like that?
Right. It all comes down to form and function in the animal kingdom. Every single adaptation has its pros and cons.
Right.
So it ends up shaping the organism's path of evolution.
Makes sense. So we've got cells, tissues, and now organs. What's the next level?
Organ systems.
Yeah.
Think like insects, earthworms, even humans. This is where groups of organs work together to do complex bodily functions, like your circulatory system, your digestive system, your nervous system. These networks keep you going.
Right. And even within those systems, there's even more variation. Like you mentioned the circulatory system earlier.
Yeah.
What's the difference between an open and closed system?
So imagine a sprinkler system watering your lawn. That's
Mm.
kind of like an open circulatory system.
Okay.
Blood's pumped out of the heart and just bathes the tissues directly. Insects have this kind of setup.
So no contained pathways, just free flowing.
Exactly. But then, in more complex animals like vertebrates, we see closed circulatory systems.
Gotcha.
Here, the blood's all contained within a network of vessels like arteries, veins, capillaries. Think of it like plumbing,
Okay.
with pipes carrying blood everywhere in the body.
So it's more controlled and targeted delivery. Does that offer any advantages?
Oh, absolutely. A closed system is way more efficient at transporting oxygen and nutrients,
Okay.
which supports higher metabolic rates and more active lifestyles.
Right.
It's one of the key reasons why vertebrates have been able to diversify so much and like dominate so many different environments.
It makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So we've gone from these simple cell groups to these complex organ systems.
Yeah.
It's like we zoomed in from like a blurry picture to a high definition masterpiece.
Yes, it is.
What's next? What other key feature helps scientists understand animal diversity?
Symmetry.
Okay, symmetry.
Yeah, how an animal's body is organized around a central axis
Hmm.
or, lack of symmetry.
So some animals don't have any symmetry at all.
Yeah, like sponges.
Sponges, right?
They're basically like abstract sculptures.
Okay.
No matter how you slice them, you won't find two identical halves.
So that makes sense, considering their lifestyle.
Right.
Anchored to the seafloor, filtering water from all directions.
Exactly. Asymmetry works great for them.
Yeah, it does. Then there's radial symmetry, right?
Yes.
It's like a starfish or a sea anemone.
Yeah,
You can cut them like a pie, and each slice is a mirror image.
exactly. Radial symmetry is often found in animals that are like sessile or slow-moving.
Uh-huh.
It lets them interact with their environment equally from all sides. Think about a sea anemone.
Okay.
It's got its tentacles radiating outwards,
Yeah,
capturing any food that drifts by.
makes sense. But most animals, including us, have bilateral symmetry.
Yeah.
A clear left and right side. What's the advantage there?
Well, bilateral symmetry is often associated with like more active lifestyles and directed movement.
Okay.
So you get a head region with specialized sensory organs, a streamlined body shape for efficient movement, and paired appendages for locomotion. Think of a fish swimming or a cheetah chasing its prey.
So bilateral symmetry is all about efficiency and directionality.
Pretty much. It's really cool how something as simple as symmetry can tell us so much about an animal,
Yeah.
about their lifestyle and their evolutionary history.
It really shows how form and function are linked.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But there's another big factor we need to consider: how embryos develop.
Oh, you mean like those early stages of development?
Yeah, right after fertilization.
Uh-huh.
So early animal embryos develop in layers. Some, like jellyfish and corals, have only 2 layers,
Okay.
the ectoderm and the endoderm. They're called diploblastic.
Diploblastic, okay. And others have 3.
Yes. Most animals, from flatworms to humans, are triploblastic, meaning they have a 3rd layer, the mesoderm,
Okay.
sandwiched between the ectoderm and the endoderm.
Mm-hmm.
And that 3rd layer, that's a game changer.
How so?
The mesoderm gives rise to a ton of complex organs and systems, like muscles, bones, the circulatory system.
Oh, wow.
It allows for a whole new level of complexity and specialization.
So that 3rd layer, the mesoderm, it's like adding a whole new dimension to the blueprint of life.
That's a great way to put it.
Okay, so we've talked about how those early embryos develop. What else do we need to know about how animal bodies are organized?
The camellum.
The camellum.
Yeah, it's a body cavity that houses and protects internal organs. Think of like a spacious room inside your body,
Okay,
where your organs can move and function without being all cramped.
so it's like an internal storage space, allowing for better organization and movement.
Exactly. Most animals, humans included, have a true column, which is completely lined with mesoderm tissue. We call those coelomates.
Coelomates, okay, but not all animals have this internal space.
Nope. Flatworms, for instance, they don't have a column at all. They're called ochelomates, meaning their organs are packed tightly together between their body wall and gut. It's a more minimalist approach, you could say.
Interesting. So they've made it work without the extra space. What about animals that have a partially lined cavity?
Those are pseudocoelmates, like roundworms.
Okay.
Their body cavity is only partially lined by mesoderm, kind of a middle ground.
It's amazing how these, subtle differences in body cavities are used to classify animals.
I know, right?
It really highlights the incredible diversity we see.
It shows how evolution has played around with different body plans, testing different solutions for survival and reproduction.
So we've covered levels of organization, symmetry, embryonic layers, and body cavities. What's next?
Segmentation.
Okay, segmentation.
Think of an earthworm.
Okay.
Its body is divided into repeating segments, often with the same organs in each segment. This modular design gives it flexibility and allows for specialized body regions.
So it's like building a machine from a bunch of interconnected units.
Exactly. Each segment can kind of function on its own, contributing to the overall efficiency of the organism.
And we see segmentation in other animals too, right?
Totally. Like arthropods, insects, crustaceans.
Right.
Their segments are highly specialized, forming distinct body regions: head, thorax, abdomen, and our own backbone is a great example too.
Our backbone.
Yeah, made up of repeating vertebrae,
Huh.
allows for flexibility and support.
So segmentation is a pretty important concept in the animal kingdom.
It's a key innovation that's helped a wide range of animal groups succeed.
Okay, so we've covered a lot, from basic body organization to segmentation. But before we get into all the different animal phyla, there's one more feature, especially for us vertebrates.
Oh, the notochord.
Right, the notochord.
It's this flexible rod that runs along the back, providing support. present at some stage in all chordates, including us.
So that's what makes a chordate a chordate.
You got it. It's their defining feature. In most vertebrates, the notochord is replaced by the vertebral column or backbone,
Okay.
but it's still there in our evolutionary history.
So it's like a basic skeletal structure that paves the way for a more complex backbone.
Precisely. And it really highlights the incredible evolutionary journey that led to all the vertebrates we see today.
Our textbook chapter takes us on this awesome tour of the animal kingdom,
Yeah, it does.
highlighting some truly remarkable creatures. Let's start with the simplest. Sponges. You know, I always thought they were plants until I learned they were animals.
Yeah, that's a common misconception. Sponges are definitely animals,
They are.
but they are about as basic as you can get.
Right, they're just collections of cells.
Yep. Some division of labor, but no real tissues or organs.
But even in their simplicity, they've got some amazing adaptations.
Oh, totally. Like their bodies are covered in pores and canals.
Yeah.
That creates this unique water transport system.
Hmm.
Water flows in, bringing food and oxygen, then goes out through a larger opening called the osculum.
So they're constantly filtering water to survive.
Exactly. And they play a huge role in marine ecosystems, filtering out tons of water, providing habitat for other organisms.
Pretty ingenious for such simple creatures. What's next in our tour?
Coelenterates.
Oh, coelenterates, jellyfish, corals, sea anemones.
You got it. These guys have radial symmetry, and they've got a unique feature, stinging cells, called cnidoblasts.
Ouch. I've had some run-ins with jellyfish tentacles.
Yeah, those stinging cells are something else. They've got these tiny harpoons that inject venom into anything that touches them.
So that's how they catch food?
Yeah, it's their main defense mechanism and how they get their meals.
Effective, but not very friendly. Corals have those stinging cells too, right?
They do, and that's actually how they build those huge reefs.
Really?
They secrete a calcium carbonate skeleton, which makes the base of the reef,
Oh.
and then use those stinging cells to catch tiny plankton.
So those beautiful coral reefs are built by millions of tiny animals with stinging cells.
It's amazing, right? A testament to the power of teamwork. Now, there's a related group, the actinophores, or comb jellies.
Oh, comb jellies. I've seen videos, those shimmering creatures, mesmerizing.
They are. Ctenophores are also marine animals with radial symmetry, but instead of stinging cells, they have rows of cilia.
Cilia.
Yeah, they look like tiny combs, and that's how they move through the water.
And they have those bioluminescent displays?
Some species do, yeah. They create their own light, making those underwater light shows.
That's so cool. So we've got sponges, coelenterates, tribertenophores. What's next?
Flatworms, or Platyhelminthes.
Flatworms, right. Those ones with the incomplete digestive systems.
Yeah, bilaterally symmetrical, with a flat body shape, hence the name.
Makes sense.
They're also the simplest animals with organ-level organization. But, like we talked about, their digestive system is, well, a bit primitive.
One opening for everything.
Exactly. But some flatworms have amazing regeneration abilities.
Really?
Some species, like planarians, can regrow an entire body from just a tiny fragment.
Imagine if we could do that. A tiny cut and you grow a whole new limb.
The possibilities are fascinating and maybe a bit scary. Now, let's move on to a group that's incredibly abundant. Roundworms. Aschelminthes is the fancy name.
Roundworms, those are the ones that can cause infections, right?
Some species can be parasitic, yeah, but many are free-living and super important in soil ecosystems.
Okay.
They're bilaterally symmetrical, have a complete digestive system with a mouth an anus, thankfully,
Good to know.
and they're pseudocoelemates, remember?
Right.
Partially lined body cavity.
And they're everywhere, right?
They are. Scientists think there could be billions in a single acre of soil.
Wow, that's a lot of roundworms. They really are everywhere.
Truly a testament to how diverse life can be. Now get ready for a jump in complexity because we're going to the segmented worms, the Annelida.
Annelids. Earthworms, leeches, and those beautiful marine worms.
You got it. Bilaterally symmetrical true coelemum, and their defining feature is segmentation. Their bodies are divided into repeating segments, often with the same organs.
So it's like their bodies are built from a series of building blocks.
Exactly. This segmentation allows for flexibility and specialization. Think of an earthworm burrowing. Each segment can contract or expand on its own, giving it that smooth movement.
It's cool how such a simple adaptation has allowed them to thrive in so many places.
From the ocean depths to your backyard, they're essential. But get ready, because now we're hitting the most diverse phylum, the arthropods.
Arthropods, that's insects, spiders, crabs, lobsters.
It's a huge group. Arthropods make up over 2/3 of all named species.
Wow. So what makes them so successful?
They have a combination of adaptations that have allowed them to live almost everywhere.
Okay.
Like annelids, they're segmented, but their segments are specialized into a head, thorax, and abdomen. And here's the key. Jointed appendages.
That's where the name arthropod comes from, right? Joint foot.
Exactly. These jointed appendages have evolved into all sorts of tools, legs, antennae, claws, wings, you name it. That's one of the secrets to their success.
And they're exoskeletons.
Yeah. Made of chitin, provides protection, support, and prevents water loss.
So it seems like it's all benefit, no drawbacks.
Well, that exoskeleton doesn't grow with them.
Oh, right.
They have to molt, shedding their old exoskeleton and growing a new one.
Yeah.
That makes them super vulnerable.
So there's a trade-off.
Exactly. It's a classic example of evolution, finding solutions, but with compromises.
Arthropods are really a testament to the power of adaptation. What other amazing creatures are out there?
We've covered some pretty incredible creatures so far, from simple sponges to those super diverse arthropods.
Yeah, we have.
Now, let's switch gears and look at a phylum that's famous for its soft bodies and those cool shells, the mollusks.
Mollusks.
Yeah.
So that's everything from snails and clams to octopuses and squids, right? Talk about diversity.
They're actually the second largest animal phylum,
Really?
after arthropods. And they live in a wide range of habitats, too,
Wow.
from freshwater ponds to the deepest parts of the ocean.
So what makes a mollusk a mollusk? What do they all have in common?
Well, mollusks are bilaterally symmetrical. They have a true column and, for the most part, a soft, unsegmented body. But their defining feature is the mantle.
The mantle. What's that?
It's this fold of tissue that drapes over their body, and in most species, it secretes a shell.
So like a snail's shell or a clam shell that's made by the mantle.
Exactly. And the mantle itself can be modified in all sorts of ways.
Okay.
In some mollusks, like squid and octopuses, the shell is internal or even absent, and the mantle helps with movement.
Oh, right.
It allows them to move through the water using jet propulsion.
Squid and octopuses are amazing creatures. They're so smart and can change colors and textures.
They're incredible. They really show just how diverse the mollusk phylum is. But we're not done yet.
Yeah.
Let's move on to a phylum that's truly one of a kind, the echinoderms.
So starfish, sea urchins, sand dollars, those are the ones with the spiny scare, right?
I got it. Echinoderm means spiny skin.
Oh, cool.
They're all marine animals with this
Yeah.
hard, spiny endoskeleton
Uh-huh.
made of calcium carbonate plates.
And they have radial symmetry.
Right. Unlike most of the other animals we've been talking about.
Yeah.
Adult echinoderms usually have that 5-part radial symmetry. Think of a starfish.
With its 5 arms, yeah.
But get this, their larvae are bilaterally symmetrical.
So they start off bilateral and then change to radial symmetry.
Exactly. It's a pretty dramatic transformation.
It is. Why would that be?
It probably has to do with their lifestyle.
Okay.
Most echinoderms are slow-moving, crawling along the seafloor, and radial symmetry gives them sensory information from all sides.
Makes sense. And they have that unique water vascular system, right?
Yes, you remembered.
Go ahead.
The water vascular system is this network of fluid-filled canals
Uh-huh.
that powers their tube feet.
Right. Those little suction cup things they use to move and grab food.
Exactly. The water vascular system is only found in echinoderms, and it's used for all sorts of things. Movement, feeding, gas exchange, even waste removal.
It's incredible how a simple system can be adapted for so many different functions.
Truly remarkable. Now let's take a quick look at a phylum that's kind of like a bridge between invertebrates and vertebrates,
Okay.
the hemichordates.
Hemichordates. I feel like I've heard that before, but I can't quite.
They're a small group of worm-like marine animals. Their name, hemi, meaning half, and chordate, gives you a clue to their evolutionary importance.
So they have a half notochord.
Not exactly a true notochord, but a structure called a stomachoid.
Okay.
It's in their collar region, a basic skeletal element that helps with support.
So they're like an early step on the way to vertebrates.
Yeah, you could think of it that way. They have some things in common with chordates, like those pharyngeal gill slits, but no true notochord and no dorsal hollow nerve cord.
Fascinating. It shows how evolution happens gradually with all these steps along the way.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And now we finally arrived at our own phylum, the chordata.
Chordates. I guess the stars of the animal kingdom, at least from our perspective.
Well, we certainly accomplished a lot.
Yeah.
But we can't forget about all the diversity within the chordate phylum.
True.
I mean, from tunicates and lancelets to fish, amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals, chordates are everywhere.
So what makes a chordate a chordate? We talked about the notochord, but is there anything else?
So chordates are bilaterally symmetrical. They've got a true column, and there are four key features they all share at some point in their development. A notochord, a dorsal hollow nerve cord, pharyngeal gill slits, and a postanal tail.
Those are the hallmarks. But those features aren't always so easy to see, right? Like in us.
Yeah, you're right. In a lot of vertebrates, those features are only present when they're embryos.
Okay.
For example, our notochord gets replaced by the vertebral column,
Right.
and our pharyngeal gill slits disappear. But they're still there in our development, connecting us to our evolutionary past.
It's amazing to think those tiny structures in embryos hold the key to understanding where we came from.
Exactly. Even the most complex organisms carry their evolutionary history with them. Now, within the chordate phylum, there's a major division. It all comes down to jaws.
Jaws. Okay, those bony structures that let us bite, chew, and, well, talk.
Right. Animals that don't have jaws, like lampreys and hagfish, belong to a group called Agnatha. They're the most basic vertebrates alive today. And they don't have paired fins either.
Since they're basically swimming mouths, not the cutest things.
They might not be winning any beauty contests, but they're super interesting.
They are.
They come from an ancient lineage,
Wow.
over 500 million years old.
Talk about living fossils.
Yeah. But the real turning point in vertebrate evolution was when jaws developed.
Okay.
That opened up so many possibilities for feeding. And it led to this huge diversity of jawed vertebrates, or the Thostomata.
So basically every vertebrate we see today, from fish to mammals, is part of that Gnathostomata group.
Exactly. And within this group, there's another big division.
Okay.
It's based on how they move and where they live. Pisces, the fishes, and Tetrapoda, the four-limbed vertebrates.
So that makes sense. Fishes live in water, using fins to swim. And tetrapods, like amphibians, reptiles, birds, and mammals, they have four limbs and live mostly on land, though some went back to the water.
You got it. That move from water to land was a huge moment in vertebrate evolution. It opened up a whole new world. Lungs, limbs, a new way of moving, sensing.
It led to the incredible diversity of tetrapods we see today. Let's start with those creatures that straddle that line between water and land.
Amphibian.
Amphibians, right?
As their name suggests, amphi meaning dual, and bios meaning life. They live this double life, part in water, part on land.
Right. Frogs, toads, salamanders, they all start as aquatic larvae with gills,
Yep.
and then they go through metamorphosis.
It's incredible.
They develop lungs and limbs so they can move on to land.
Amazing transformation.
Yeah.
And even though amphibians successfully made it to land, they still need water to reproduce.
Right, their eggs don't have a waterproof shell.
Exactly. So you have to lay them in water or somewhere moist.
They're not fully free from the water yet.
Nope. But they have evolved some cool adaptations for life on land. Their moist skin helps them breathe, along with their lungs.
Uh-huh.
And many have really strong limbs for jumping, hopping, climbing.
Yeah, from those tiny, colorful dart frogs with their crazy toxins to those huge salamanders, amphibians are really diverse.
They are. And they played a big role in ecosystems, too, controlling insect populations and letting us know if an environment is healthy. But let's move on to a group that truly conquered land, the reptiles.
Reptiles, so lizards, snakes, turtles, crocodiles, they've made themselves at home on land.
They have a whole bunch of adaptations that let them thrive in a variety of habitats, from deserts to rainforests to the ocean.
Wow.
One key innovation is their dry, scaly skin.
Right, that helps prevent water loss, super important in dry places. No more relying on moist skin for breathing like amphibians.
Exactly. And unlike amphibians, reptile eggs have a tough, leathery shell,
Oh, right.
so they're protected from drying out. That let them break free from water for reproduction and live in even the driest environments.
That's a huge advantage. And reptiles have evolved some pretty wild forms and lifestyles, haven't they?
Totally. From tortoises that live over 100 years to those super fast venomous snakes, reptiles show how adaptable vertebrates can be.
And let's not forget crocodiles and alligators, those top predators.
Yeah, they're a testament to reptilian success. But while reptiles were conquering land, another group took to the air.
Birds.
Birds. Those feathered wonders soaring through the sky. What a sight.
Amazing, aren't they? Birds are direct descendants of dinosaurs, so they've inherited some cool traits from their reptilian ancestors.
Okay.
Like scales on their legs and shelled eggs.
Right. But obviously the most impressive thing about birds is their feathers.
Absolutely. Feathers are such a cool example of evolution.
They are.
They provide insulation, waterproofing, and most importantly, they allow birds to fly.
That's what makes birds unique. Flight. Such a complex way of moving.
It's a real feat of engineering. Birds have lightweight, hollow bones, strong flight muscles, and wings that generate lift. It's what lets them soar so gracefully. And they've got all sorts of beaks, wings, and feet, each one perfectly suited to how they live and what they eat.
From hummingbirds that hover and drink nectar to those huge eagles that soar and hunt, birds have mastered life in the air.
They show us that even gravity can be overcome. Speaking of defying the odds, let's talk about our own group, the mammals.
Ah, yes, mammals. Warm-blooded, furry, and we're everywhere.
And one of the key things that makes us mammals are those mammary glands,
Oh,
right?
this is a big one. Mammary glands produce milk, which feeds our young, giving them a great start in life.
And don't forget our fur or hair.
Oh, right. Fur is another defining feature. It keeps us warm and helps us regulate our body temperature,
Yeah, fur is important. It even allows some mammals to live in water.
like otters and seals.
And mammals have such a variety of teeth, limbs, and sensory organs.
Exactly. Think of a lion's powerful jaws and teeth, a wolf's sharp claws and keen vision, or a bat using echolocation. Each adaptation reflects the amazing diversity within the mammal class.
From tiny shrews to gigantic blue whales, mammals come in all shapes and sizes.
And we humans are part of that story too. We share a common ancestor with all other mammals. Our bodies carry that history.
It really puts things into perspective. We're all connected, from the smallest shrew to the largest whale.
And that story is still going, with new discoveries and insights happening all the time. The animal kingdom is vast and amazing, and our journey through its classification has just scratched the surface.
We've explored so much, from simple sponges to those complex mammals, seeing the evolutionary links that tie us all together. But here's a thought. With so many species yet to be discovered, what other incredible adaptations and strange creatures are out there waiting to be classified?
You've taken a deep dive into the animal kingdom, but this is just the beginning. Every creature you see is a result of millions of years of evolution. Keep learning, keep asking questions, and keep being amazed by the incredible diversity of life on Earth.